Dear students, welcome to this lecture on merchandising and export management. In this lecture, we will have discussion on export procedure. And in this lecture, we will get an idea how to become an exporter and how to dispose of various kinds of documents. Now, one thing I'd like to mention here that the export procedure is a very complicated and cumbersome process. Until and unless you have hands-on experience on this, you will not completely understand the process. But whatever I will discuss, that will be good enough for the syllabus. So let us see what are the steps that are involved in export. So first step is the registration formalities. Next one is the examination of terms and conditions. Next, export production and the quality control. Next, export step is clearance from central excise. Next is the pre-shipment inspection. Next is the appointment of clearing and forwarding agent. Then customs clearance and the port formalities. And lastly, disposal of the documents for getting the payments as well as the export incentive. Now, each and every step I will discuss in details, and you will understand how to export, right from how to become an exporter, how to realize the payment from the import. So first step means it is the registration formalities. See, it is not like that you have the manufacturing plant and you will become an exporter. No, for to become an exporter, you have to complete certain registration formalities. So in the step 1, we are going to discuss that. In the step 2, it is basically the examination of the terms and conditions. That means, moment you get any queries or any order from the importers, what we have to do? You have to examine the terms and conditions. Because if you don't examine the terms and conditions and you accept the export order, and in case you fail to execute the same, you have to pay the price heavily. Next is the export production and the quality control. Here we will discuss what are the do's and don'ts for export production and the quality controls. Next is the clearance from the excise duty. What are you going to discuss here? Here we have to understand that how to take the goods outside from your manufacturing plant, okay, and to obtain the clearance from central excise. Next is the pre-shipment inspection. What are the pre-shipment inspection formalities are there before exporting? That we discuss in this step 5. Next is the appointment of the clearing and forwarding agent. It is just like that. Each and every company has their own legal advisor. Similarly, each and every exporters have their own clearing and forwarding agent. And all these export formalities, documentations, customs clearance are taken care of by clearing and forwarding agent. The next is the customs clearance and the port formalities. This is very important. Here we'll understand what exactly happening at the time of customs clearance, and thereafter disposal of the documents. What are the various type of documents and how they are disposed of, and what are the documents needs to be sent to the banks and to the government for claiming the incentive. Now, export documentation and export procedure, these two are very much interrelated, right? And without knowing the export procedures, you will not in a position to understand what are the requirement for the export documentations. Okay, so after understanding what is the export procedure, I will upload a separate video on requirements of various kinds of document and their importance, right? So let us start with registration formalities. So first step, as I have told you, this is the registration of the exporter. Now, how to become an exporter? To become an exporter, first you have to obtain the IEC number. What is IEC number? IEC number is Importer Exporter Code number. It is just like that. You people are not allowed to appear in the examination without your registration number or examination university roll number. Similarly, exporters are not allowed to export their products until unless they have got a definite IEC number. So first thing, the exporter, what the exporter has to do, they will have to obtain IEC number. See, registration of the regional licensing authorities. So in order to obtain the IEC number, what the exporter has to do, they will have to open a first they have to open a bank account with any commercial bank which are authorized to deal with the foreign exchange, and thereafter with this account number, reference of this account number, they have to register with the regional licensing authorities or IEC number. So this number is basically the one-time number. Moment the number is assigned, it will be permanent to you. Okay, and this IC number is to get the IC numbers is not difficult at all, because always our countries also encourage the manufacturers to export. So naturally they will give you the IC number provided you have completed certain formalities. Okay, and for to obtain IC number you have to apply to the regional licensing authority with prescribed format. Next is we have to register with Export Promotion Council. Now for each and every type of commodity, there is either Export Promotion Council or there is commodity boards. Now what is the role of this Export Promotion Council or commodity boards? They will help the exporter in exporting the goods. They will help the exporters to identify the foreign buyers, and they will also help the exporters to identify which category of the product is popular in which type of country, what type of risk associated which the countries, that the exporter can get information from the Export Promotion Council. As for example, if you want to export apparel, you have to register with Apparel Export Promotion Council. If you want to export the carpets, you have to register yourself with Carpet Export Promotion Council. Similarly, for if you want to export tea or if you want to export coffee, there is the coffee board, tea board, etc. Now, what I mean to say is that to get registered yourself for the Export Promotion Council, you have to pay the certain fees, and in this case, the registration is not valid lifelong. In the IEC, the registration is valid lifelong, but registration of Export Promotion Council, it is not valid lifelong. It is generally continue after every 5 years, and it is expired on 31st March of each year. Okay, so again I'm telling, the first thing what you have to do, you have to register yourself as an exporter. You have to obtain the IEC number and you have to register with Export Promotion Council or Commodity Board, as the case may be. Second is examination of the terms and conditions. Now what, suppose you have now become the exporter and you have received the orders from the importers. Now what you will do after getting the order from the importers? The first thing you have to do is that you have to acknowledge the export order. It is not like that you have to accept it then and then. No. The first thing, moment you get the queries, moment you get any sort of order, you will first acknowledge the importers and convey your thanks regarding the regarding their queries. Nowadays it is very simple, because with mail also you can easily acknowledge them. Earlier days it was done by means of fax. Now after you get the order, you have to examine the certain details, because I have already told you that without examining the details, if you accept the export orders and in case you fail, then you have to pay the price heavy. So let us see what are the factors we have to examine. The first thing is you have to examine the product requirements. You have to ensure that the product requirements are clearly understood. Second, you have to understand what is the terms of payment and what is the quantity requirement. Terms of payment, it is also very important in the case of the export. You have to understand there are various types of terms of payment. As for example, advance payment, or you can say the open account, or you can say the document against payment, or document against acceptance, and document against or you can say there is the documentary credit system or letter of credit. So exactly what sort of terms of payment will be there, we have to examine that, and you have to examine what is the quantity requirement. Do you have the enough facility to execute that quantity? Then what are the documents needed by the importer? See, here the documents are needed by the importers, but these documents are to be provided by you. So importers, what are the documents needed, that should be clearly understood by the exporters. Next is the delivery time and the price term. Delivery time, this is a very, very important, because if you want to fail to execute the order within the definite time, then your payment may be forfeited by the importers. And there is a price term. This price term, this is known as